Schools are off to an unusual start this year, mixing remote learning with in-person classroom instruction, with teachers sometimes doing both at the same time. Between extracurricular activities and school athletics, now finally able to resume inter-school games after September 26th, it's been a different back-to-school experience for teachers, students, administrators, and parents in a year that's been very different in general, for everybody. As part of an ongoing series we're launching, we'll be looking at how certain kinds of classes and schools are adapting to this new, and for the moment, new normal. We start with the Success Program at Byrne-Burton Academy, which aims to reach out to students who might be in search of a longer-range plan for what they might want to do after they finish high school. Jason Pergament is the program director, and Billy Canfield is the associate program director, who described how it was going. The program has now grown to include more than 200 of the roughly 800 students at Byrne-Burton.
I mean, I guess I look at the COVID emergency in two phases. You know, there was the immediate emergency, the quarantine, the being stuck at home, and then us all scrambling to figure out how to best meet those needs. And then phase two is what we're dealing with now, which is a lot more intentional, a lot more organized, a lot more, well, I think intentional is the right word. We're now, so what we've got going on now, I feel really good about, because we've had a whole summer to prepare ourselves for it. Now moving into this year, it's another level of complication, because now we have kids who have a concept of online learning based on spring, and that's no longer what online learning looks like. You know, in the spring, for instance, I think a big example that I think illustrates what I'm saying is whether or not their Zoom cameras are on. So in the springtime, we felt bad for kids. We felt like we're not going to force them to put the cameras on because their home environments might not be healthy. I can think of one young man who's like, look, my stepdad's always drunk, he's always in his underwear, and he's always cursing. Please don't make me put my camera on. And we can understand that because the kid didn't want to be embarrassed by what was happening in his home. But now that we have systems in place, we need the kids who are at home, because kids are at home half time and they're in school half time. We need the kids who are at home to actually have their cameras on and participate in class. And so we're trying to kind of revive or reestablish those norms and those expectations that kids will engage even when they're home. And that's tough. And we do have a few kids who the online learning, even if it's hybrid or part-time, is still not productive. And so those kids, we're trying to find ways to have them come to campus full-time and create really individualized programs for those kids.
One of the tools that Pergament and Canfield employ to build confidence, academic proficiency, and appreciation for the value of education, collaboration skills, and a mindset of perseverance and optimism, which are among the goals of the Success Program, is a meditation class, which Mia Grigsby, one of the students in their audiovisual program, recorded a part of. Here, the two program directors merge in-person instruction with another group of students dialing in from locations off campus.
I'm glad to hear that. So those of you that are at home, I'm going to ask for all of you at home to think about what you can do for the next, I guess I can stop this. I ask you guys at home what you can do to center and relax yourself for the next few minutes while we meditate here. All right? But I really want to be stressing that it's something that is calming and centering. Listening to music, coloring, writing poems. You guys at home, do you have any, what are some things you guys are going to do for meditating right now? What are some meditative actions that you might take?
Listen to music.
Who's that, Olivia?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, remember I said yesterday, if we're listening to music, just listen to music, okay? Sit somewhere comfortable, listen, don't be trolling social media at the same time. Allow yourself to relax and do one thing, okay? But that's a good thing to do, is listening to music. Is someone going to do something different other than listening to music? Jack, what are you going to do, Jackson?
No, I'm probably gonna read.
Yeah, read a book that's pleasurable. Don't do homework. Do something that's interesting to you, okay? And just read. Put your phone down and just read for a few minutes. Guys in class, we're gonna try something different because I think it's still wet outside and I don't want us sitting outside where it's wet. What we're gonna do is we're gonna clear space in the middle of the room to sit, okay? So what we're gonna do is those tables are gonna get pushed out. Those tables are gonna get pushed out. That table is gonna get twisted to the back of the room. This table is gonna get twisted to the front of the room, and then we'll have an empty space in the middle where we can sit in the classroom. But that's
As the program has grown, more than doubling the number of students enrolled in it over the past 2 years, it's also evolved, Bergerman said.
I think one thing for sure is numbers wise. When we first started the Success Program, each cohort had like 23 to 30 kids, but word of mouth has spread so that there's much more interest in people having their kids participate. So now our cohorts are 50 to 60 kids a year. So we're just dealing with a much larger mass of students. I also think that the effect of poverty continues to unpack itself in our community. And so the needs of these students, and probably it was always like this, but it's becoming much more evident that the needs are far more than just educational needs. These kids really need full wraparound services. They need not just educational support, but they also need social emotional support. And so this is where we hired Billy to come in with the social emotional aspect, the counseling aspect, and social work. We've also expanded our course offerings. We have a dual enrollment class that we do in partnership with CCV in Bennington. And this class is called Introduction to College and Careers. And it's a class for upperclassmen to start thinking about their post-secondary plans. What do they want to do for a career? And then what are actionable steps to take to realize those career goals? And so actually we have a CCV professor who comes in and teaches that class twice a week. And then the other 3 days a week, we help those kids to complete the college level work for the professor. So it's a really interesting hybrid. We also have a senior workshop class where we work with seniors to actually complete their college applications. That's the class we just had in here now. And we're not supplanting our school's college counseling office. Obviously, the role they play is irreplaceable. What we're trying to do is help to demystify the process for the students and I think sit in for the role that parents often play. I came from a nice middle-class family. Both my parents had attended college. And so when it came time for me to apply to college, no one had to explain to me what a FAFSA was or, the value of the SATs or how to narrow down your college choices. My parents held that role for me. But because so many of these kids that we work with will be the first in their family to go to college, we find that there's a need to give them a little bit more support in actually working their way through the process.
We'll be looking at other types of classes, from tech class to music class, and maybe more in coming episodes. For the GNAT TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.